called to order this meeting Monday, June 16th. Jordan, would you start us off with the roll call, please?
Please respond by stating present. Councilmember Ronayne.
Present.
Faubourg.
Present.
Liebelt.
Present.
Ward.
Present.
Johnson.
Present.
Econger.
Present.
Langer.
Present.
Norvstrup.
Present.
Mayor Schoeneman.
Present. Please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First order of business will be to approve this week's agenda. I take a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion, Councilman Ward. Second, Councilwoman Liebelt. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Next is the approval of the minutes for the last couple of meetings. One was a city council meeting, and the other was a meeting about our election that we just held. Took place respectively on June 2nd and June 6th. I would take a motion to approve the minutes for those two meetings.
Move to approve both sets of meetings.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilman Johnson, second Councilman Ward. Anything from the council? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. We have some special guests with us here tonight for our open forum. They've got good news, which is always a positive. So I've got John and Vern both signed up. Are you guys the guys that would be willing to share a word? All right, Vern, why don't you go ahead and make sure the little green light is on. Gary, appreciate you guys. Amy, make sure the little green light is on so that we can hear you and the audience can hear you. And
Yeah.
tell us what you've got going
This
on.
one? Okay, there we go. Good evening. I'm Vern Pressler, and this is our commander for the DAV, Amy Lucas, and the first vice. And also, this is Gary Warren from the Legion, and we're here to present the city with the funds to have a fountain at the Moccasin Creek, and we'd like to name it the Freedom Fountain. The VFW has already given you guys a check, and thank you, Amy. So here's the rest of the funds. Or
Okay, do you want to say how much the contact?
well, okay. It's $2,000 from each one of the partnership of the VFW and the DAV and the Legion for the fountain. And the veterans are giving back to Aberdeen and like I said, we'd like to name it the Freedom Fountain and maybe get it in by July 4th. Robin?
We'll see. We'll try.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well, thanks for contributing, guys, and thank you for really appreciate and express our gratitude for that. Really excited for the direction that the creek is moving, and it'll be even more pretty with a fountain down there and highest visibility section. So, thanks a ton. Really appreciate it.
Welcome to the DAV meetings. As we started to welcome you, so.
Perfect. I made it to your annual conference, if you'll
I know
recall.
you were there and it was fantastic. Thank you for coming and speaking. It was fabulous. It couldn't went any better.
Appreciate
American Legion.
All right, I'll add it to the list.
Convention next summer, so.
Okay, I'll be there. Well, thanks for joining us, guys, and appreciate the funds.
Thank you.
Moving right along to our consent calendar, we've got quite a lot of consent calendar items here tonight. 11 of them, if I'm adding correctly. Take a motion to approve our consent calendar as printed.
Move to approve. As printed.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilwoman Liebelt and a second from Councilman Ronayne. Does anyone on the council have anything to discuss as it relates to any of these particular consent calendar items? Any questions, comments? Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Next section of this meeting will be our new business, as we have no old business to discuss here tonight. Our first order of new business is the approval of a resolution which declares the results of the election, which was recounted here just this afternoon. Ron, will you walk us through what this resolution in fact will do for us?
Yes, Mayor Shannon, I will. I'll ask Jordan to join in too as we're talking about the certificate of recount. But as the council knows, the June 3rd, 2025 election was extremely close, and candidate Kurt Pressler, who was for the Southeast District council member, lost by 1 vote, and as he is statutorily authorized to do, requested a recount. Jordan has worked closely with both the county auditor, Lynn Heipel, and with these folks at the Secretary of State's office to work through what that recount means and how we conduct those. What I wanted to make sure the council is clear is that while there is a very specific process for conducting a county or a statewide recount, there is not that same process requirement for a municipal or school district recount. Having said that, though, we did look to those statutes and regulations for guidance in conducting the recount that occurred today. The recount board was constituted of Chad Like for candidate Chad Nilsson, Rich Hilgeman for candidate Kurt Pressler, and Angie Kleberg was appointed by Jordan as the 3rd member of the recount board. And that was conducted today at 3 o'clock, went very well, very smoothly. There weren't any real questions asked. The recount board was able to review all of the election results and specifically the 3 overvote ballots, and was able to conclude and those ballots and issue its certificate of recount. Jordan, you've been able to since certify that?
That's correct.
Attest that?
That's correct.
And so we do have that as part of our record here tonight, and that will be placed on file with the finance office. And what you have before you, council, is a resolution that accepts those results and declares finally Chad Nilsson as the plurality vote winner in the Southeast District, and authorizes the city finance officer to issue a certificate of election to Chad. He will then begin his duties after taking the oath of office and start serving July 1st of 2025. We recommend that the council adopt first reading of the resolution. I have prepared for all the council members a revised resolution that sets forth all this information. That printed resolution has been available to the members in attendance, or I'm sorry, the residents and other persons who have attended here today, so we can move forward with adoption of that resolution number 250602R.
Thank you for that clarification. Would someone from the council care to make a motion to make this official?
So moved. Second.
Got a motion from Councilman Ronayne and a second from Councilman Ward. So the overcounts were people that had voted for more than one applicant, so maybe it's a prime time to suggest to folks that are voting to carefully inspect the ballots. If there's one candidate can be voted for, your vote will be discarded if you vote for more than one. Any questions from any of the clarification that Ron had made of our resolution at hand?
Yeah, this only affects, since this resolution effectively is replacing the previous resolution, this only affects the Southeast District, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
So
You can remain on the council, tell me.
perceived conflict, okay.
No, and Councilman E. Conger, you are in this position as appointed now to the Southwest District. You are free to vote on this resolution.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, if there's no further questions, Jordan, would you give us a roll call vote?
Councilmember Ronayne.
Aye.
Foberg.
Aye.
Liebelt.
Aye.
Ward.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Econger.
Aye.
Langer.
Aye.
Norvstrup.
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion carries. The next item of our new business here tonight will be our Northern Innovation and Startup Center update, as well as B, as explanation of upcoming events that those guys have stewing. B, welcome to the meeting. Good to see you.
Thank you.
How are things over at the Innovation Center?
They're busy as always, so I'm excited to report to you all the things that we've done this last year, and I'll give you a sneak peek into 2025 since, well, we're halfway over with that year, right? But first, I just want to say hello, everybody. My name is Bee Smith, and I have the pleasure of being the director of the Northern Innovation and Startup Center, which is a strategic partnership between the Aberdeen Development Corporation and Northern State University. And we are truly a hub that brings together academia, industry, and entrepreneurs with the sole mission of helping individuals turn their big ideas, their big business ideas into a company. So first off, I want to say thank you to the council for your funding support. The Startup Center is funded 100% through an EDA Build to Scale grant, which the city supported in that, which has been instrumental to our overall success. So again, wanted to take some time to kind of go through some of the high-level points of our 2024 annual report that was included in all of your packets. So, a couple things. In 2024, we have had an incredible following with an astounding number of social media reaches and website views. One of my favorite things that we get to do is we shared the success stories of local founders doing some pretty cool things. Our highest viewed success story in 2025 and overall so far was the story of Angel, who is the founder of Blessing Cuts. His Facebook post reached almost 34,000 people, which translated into nearly 400 people actually going to our website and reading his story, which is pretty cool. You'll see there in that maroon box is our analytics from 2024. Happy to report, we're already doubling those numbers. In 2025, our Facebook reach is over 93,000, with website views totaling nearly 8,000, with an average daily view of 43. So that's pretty fun. In 2024, we had 1,914 individuals participate in our programming. This included nearly 200 people attending our technology-based workshops. These are free workshops that are available in person, online via Zoom, and then after the fact in a online classroom, allowing easily accessibility for all. Also included in that, nearly 20 people participated in our startup programming. This included a startup weekend, as well as 2 cohorts of our Idea to Market program, which is an 8-week program facilitated by NSU business faculty. Hopefully you all heard about our Technology and Entrepreneurship Summit last September. We had over 800 people participate in this one-day event on the campus of NSU. New this year was an online experience where we had 35 people participate, including the business students from Lake Area Technical College. Also in 2024, we hosted 4 quarterly networking events, attracting nearly 250 people. My favorite by far was our Q4 Fail Fest. Yes, a party centered around the idea of failure. As an entrepreneurial ecosystem, we need to be okay with the idea of potentially failing, because FAIL to the Startup Center stands for First Attempt in Learning. And what better theme for a party, right? Also in 2024, we hosted our first Aberdeen Business Pitch Competition, thanks to the generous support of the Aberdeen Development Corporation, who sponsored our $10,000 cash prize. That was the last time I was here presenting to you all to invite you to our finalist event. Last year, we had 26 applicants, again awarding that cash prize to local founder Tiffany Haft with her company's Minds Matter. The why behind the Aberdeen Business Pitch Competition was twofold. One, how can we intentionally invest in one founder to project them to the next stage in development, whatever that may be for them? And the second priority area was how can we encourage local founders to participate in the South Dakota Governor's Giant Vision Competition? Again, happy to report, it paid off. Tiffany Haft was a 4th place winner in the 2025 South Dakota Governor's Giant Vision Competition, as well as NSU student Diana Hale, who placed 3rd. Both individuals were mentored by Dr. Sal Villegas, NSU business professor, and he truly works one-on-one with these people to get them adequately prepared for that. Hopefully you know, our Aberdeen Business Pitch Competition is quickly approaching. The finalist event will be June 30th at Ingalls Event Company. This is a free community event to attend. I know a couple of you had attended last year, so very excited to announce This year, we had 32 applicants for that competition, 10 of which resided in the rural communities surrounding Aberdeen, as well as 3 out-of-state applicants. Our 6 community judges had a very, very hard job of narrowing it down to 5, and those 5 people will be pitching their business idea on stage again June 30th at 4 p.m. I do have to say thank you to the Development Corporation for their support of that $10,000 cash prize, as well as the SBDC. Kelly and Rachel over there have met each of our finalists at least once to prepare them for that pitch event. So again, these things and all the things we do would not be possible without those individuals. And you guys are seeing it here first. Our Technology and Entrepreneurship Summit for 2025 will be September 24th. Excited about our keynote announcement that you're hearing here first. We will have Kevin Kelly as our entrepreneurship keynote. This is an individual who has advised global brands like Harley-Davidson, Whole Foods, and Kraft. Kevin will share actionable insights on how entrepreneurs and innovators can design spaces and experience that foster connection, relevance, and long-term success in a rapidly evolving digital world. And our technology keynote speaker, James Villarubia, who is a CTO, an applied AI expert, and a presidential innovation fellow at NASA. So excited about this year's event. I promise this is one year you won't want to miss out. Again, hoping to make this the true regional and state conference to celebrate innovation, entrepreneurship, and technology right here in Aberdeen. Again, we'll be focused on a high-flex experience, allowing accessibilities for the rural communities that surround Aberdeen. And with that, I would turn it over to you, council members, if you have any questions for me.
Well, first of all, thanks for being here. Thanks for your energy and sharing all these updates. So your original grant was for 3 years?
Yes.
And is this is a third of those 3 years? So we're looking for an update on a new grant from the same Corey system, or what?
Yes.
Okay.
So as we all know what's going on in our federal grant landscape, our EDA grant, we will apply for a 1-year no-cost extension, which will help us stretch those funds an additional year. As we all know how incredible the Aberdeen area community is, we've truly leveraged those partnerships and collaborations to stretch the dollars, but also we hold all of our technology-based workshops at the public library, which of course does that free of charge, so we've been able to stretch those. In regards to the future of the Startup Center, those are ongoing conversations that are being had, and thank you for the reminder. I did forget to tell you all how excited we are to move into the new space, which will be the NSU Health and Business Innovation Center. So we're looking forward to that in 2026 as well.
Sounds good. And so the 1-year extension gives you additional funding from Corey, or that is just...
So Corey has nothing to do with the funding. The funding was through the EDA, the Build to Scale. Corey was an organization that we're a part of that helped us to get the grant, but also take a very strategic look at our rural community and what does our tech digital ecosystem look like, especially knowing the broadband access that has been given to us.
Sounds good. Anything else from the council? Any other questions anyone might have?
Mr. Mayor?
I'll go ahead.
Just a comment, just want to say thank you to Bea. Awesome presentation, and your energy. You're very much a servant leader, and I just appreciate what you do. Your energy comes through in all the program that you guys do, and of course, Kendra, very much a huge part of that team, helping to keep you organized maybe a little bit with all the ideas. So she does that for me as well over at ADC. So just wanted to say thank you. You guys do awesome with the community.
And I will just add, this, again, is a true strategic partnership, and it's leveraging those relationships with organizations like the Aberdeen Development Corporation, like the Small Business Development Center, like GOED. We're all a part of the ecosystem, and we're all spokes in the wheel. So we work very, very collaboratively together. So thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Go ahead, Councilwoman.
Welcome
back, by the way.
Thanks. I didn't miss a meeting.
And you're no more tan than I feel like when you left. What was going on here? Not enough beach time, must have been.
No, it was not beach time.
All right.
I was learning about the history and geography of Vietnam.
Welcome.
Learned something new every day. It was a good experience for my brain. And we had 22 people in our group. One was a Vietnam vet, so.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, we learned a lot. At any rate, back to Bea. B, thank you for being here. I want to just give you a huge shout out for the amount of collaboration that you do, not only with the Aberdeen Development Corporation, but with the NSU Foundation, who's been a big piece in making this, the USC EDA grant even happen. And then also with the Kramer Center, if you want to talk a little bit about the collaborations that you're having on campus and how some of those things are happening, and just kind of what a big day those 2 days are going to be on campus and in the community. Because it's not just the summit. The summit's a huge draw, but there's more happening.
There is so much more. And thank you for that point. So Kevin Irvin Kelly is actually, we are collaborating with the Kramer Center of Innovation and Design on that speaker. He will come and he will speak at our summit, and then the following day he will be providing a hands-on workshop for small businesses and individuals that are wanting to participate in that. More to come on that. But also on September 24th, that evening, is NSU's Common Read. It's following Northern's homecoming the weekend before, so it truly will be a very momentous time on campus and in the community. So excited to collaborate with those partners to do that.
Mr. Mayor?
Go ahead, Councilwoman.
Collaboration is such an easy word to say, but it's really hard to implement because it requires 10 times more conversations than if you just did it all by yourself. So I think that the work that you and Kendra do to collaborate with so many partners should definitely be celebrated.
Well, thank you for that.
Anything else from the council? Well, B, thanks for joining us. Appreciate you sharing this information with us. Always excited to see the new stuff coming out of the center.
Well, thank you, and we all hope to see you June 30th at Ingalls Event Company.
All right, next we've got a possible appointment of Nicole Hines to the K.O. Lee Public Library Board of Trustees. Ron, how many board positions are available right now? Is it just the one?
Just the one.
Okay.
Just the one. We had a board member who has resigned, so we just have the one opening right now.
And
It's just to fill that.
what is the tenure? The length of tenure?
I'm not sure. I want to say 4 year, but I don't know for sure. I'm not part of that. Rob might know.
My experience is once you get appointed, it's lifetime commitment.
Until someone resigns, huh? Publicly resigns.
Or die.
Well, we had, it's not usually the situation where someone comes to me with desiring to be on a board, but this is the case here that other people have also expressed interest in this position. Do you feel like this position will be additional positions on that board before terribly long, or?
I don't have any reason to know that there would be.
Okay. Sounds good. Nicole Hines, seems like she fits the bill. Ron?
Well, I'm sorry, Mayor, I was not at the meeting that the library board had when they reviewed these applications, but I understand that they recommended her appointment, so I assume she does fit the bill. Yeah.
Sounds good. Sounds good. I would take a motion to approve Nicole.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilwoman Fulberg and a second from Councilman Ward. Does anyone have anything before we take a vote? All right. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Next, we've got a possible hearing and possible approval of, or a public hearing, possible approval of a transfer of an on-off sale malt beverage license from Ace Boshi, doing business as Moccasin Creek Concessions, to Hub City Softball Association, doing business as Players Field Concessions. Doesn't look like we've got anyone here to talk about that, but it sounds like it might be a matter of paperwork for our concession stand vendors. I take a motion.
So moved.
Motion Ward, second Knobstrup. Anybody have anything at all? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Stu is gone tonight, so we have Destin in his place as assistant. We've got possible approval of a pay request number 1, which titles $294,561.26 for our PCN 09GP to Prime Construction from Slayton, Minnesota, as part of our 10th Avenue Southeast Bridge Replacement Project. Destin, how's that project coming along?
Good. The project's going along pretty well. Got most of the storm sewer in at this point, and that's what this pay request is for storm sewer and the stockpiling of like precast concrete that they need to finish it.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion Ronayne, second Johnson. When will the demo for the existing bridge take place?
It should start somewhat soon here.
Soon.
I don't know exact date, but I could find out. That's the next thing to do.
Sure. Maybe give me a heads up. I'd like to get some photography of that when it comes to be. Does anyone else have any questions for Destin as it relates to this payment on the project and work done?
Mr. Mayor?
Go ahead, Councilwoman.
And Robin, is this the replacement of that bridge on 6th Avenue? Is that what we're talking about?
No, 10.
10.
Down by the water park.
This
Oh,
one
okay.
needs to get done first because this will be part of the detour route when the 6th Avenue Bridge gets started.
6th Avenue is a state project, and that
Right.
one will take place in 2027, we've learned.
Mr. Mayor?
Go ahead.
Who gets to be involved in the design of that bridge on the 6th Avenue one?
The city has been involved to some degree on it, but it's been primarily the bridge department for the DOT and the folks that work on detours, utilities, all that, and then they involve the city staff as well.
On that note, I know that there's been some discussions about maybe making it a little bit more visually appealing. Does that seem like it would be a feasible possibility?
It's always a conversation that we can enter into, but aesthetics is a difficult thing to justify depending on what it costs. Functionality is what they're gonna be shooting for primarily. If there's something that we want beyond that, we would probably be asked to pay for it.
But we've got plenty of time, or what does the timeline look like for that sort of a discussion, Robin?
They would be nearing the final design at this point based on getting all their environmental work completed. It takes there's quite a length of time to get everything in place before that bid would take place. So I would say that we would need to visit with them fairly soon if there's a desire to do something beyond their standard design.
How does the council would have any opinion on that discussion? I know that there has definitely been some idea that we could improve the overall look and feel of the areas in and around the creek, and this might be an opportunity to do some of that sort of a thing, especially with the pedestrian walkway around the bridge.
Mr. Mayor?
Go ahead, Councilwoman.
I'd be really interested in that, and it'd be good to have someone from the Parks Department too. If you and Robin and I and someone from the Parks Department can meet, or whoever you want, but
Could at least have a discussion,
I would
think,
like to know.
without hurting anything. Well, let's, I think, plan on that. If no one has any serious reservations about it, it doesn't hurt to take a look at what the options would be. All right, Jordan, would you give us a roll call vote on the payment of $294,000 to, is it Prom?
It's Prom Construction.
Prom.
Councilmember Norvstrup,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Econger,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Ward,
Aye.
Liebelt,
Aye.
Fauberg,
Aye.
Ronayne,
Aye.
Mayor Shonneman.
Aye, motion carries. Next is our possible approval of a pay request number 2, $140,574 and 19 cents, as well as an accompanying change order for $115,499 and 25 cents for our quadrant improvements. These are to CWF Masonry, Destin. Generally, we get a little bit above and beyond what we had originally intended to do with when they're rolling. Is that kind of the case here for these change orders?
Yeah, the bid came under our budget, so we just ordered more quadrants to be done to spend up our budget for this project.
Work has been going all right. Everyone's happy with the way that it's been going.
They look pretty good.
And approximately where are they working right now?
So the change order ones are on Lincoln Street from about Railroad to 8th Avenue. And the project overall is kind of in our chip seal route in that area.
Thank you for that clarification. Someone from the council Care to make a motion to make these two payments to CWF?
Move to approve both payments.
Second.
Motion Johnson, second Ward. Any questions?
Mr. Mayor?
Go ahead.
Just a
Councilman.
question for the Assistant City Engineer. Could you just explain, I know you mentioned the pay request. The original one came in on budget, and then my understanding, the change order, you just added those on, still under the overall budget,
Yeah,
but that...
The change order is additional work that I ordered. The original contract, how much was that? Anyway, we had about 250 set aside to do it, so we ordered the extra work to use the budget up, and so we did 13 more quadrants in addition to the original contract.
Perfect. So change order
So
doesn't
it's-
increase the overall budget, but still within
Yep,
that.
it would increase the contract amount.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Jordan?
Councilmember Ronayne.
Aye.
Fauberg.
Aye.
Liebelt.
Aye.
Ward.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Econger.
Aye.
Langer.
Aye.
Norvstrup.
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion carries. Next is possible approval of pay request number one for $140,644.78 for our street maintenance concrete repair. Same company, CWF Masonry. Dustin, how is that concrete repair work coming along?
It's going good. This one's still underway. That last one, I don't know if I mentioned it, but that's we're wrapped up with that. So, but this is our annual curb and gutter repair program. So we're doing these repairs ahead of our chip seal route.
Move to approve.
Second.
I've got a motion from Councilman Ward, second Councilman Ronayne. Any questions for Dustin on this one? Jordan?
Councilmember Norvstrup.
Aye.
Langer.
Aye.
Econger.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Ward.
Aye.
Liebelt.
Aye.
Fauberg.
Aye.
Ronayne.
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion carries. Next, we've got a possible approval of a WRF improvements pay request number one in the amount of $4,615,956.51 to PKG Contracting. Ms. Amanda Fisher from the wastewater treatment plant is here to walk us through that payment. Amanda, how are things going down there?
Very good. Slow start to everything. A lot of it's just dirt work right now. A lot of excavation has gone on. Some of the pay request is for mobilization, bonds, insurance. Excavation is a large portion of it, and then another decent section of it is 25% of procurement for shop drawings to start ordering equipment for the overall project. And this is all within the scope of the $90+ million project that we voted in at the end of the year.
Thank you for that clarification.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilwoman Liebelt, second Councilman Ward. Any questions for Amanda on these expenses? Jordan, got the money for this one? It's not gonna bounce?
This will be primarily using our ARPA funds, so we need to spend that before December of '26. This will help us get there.
Way to go, Amanda.
All right, there's no further questions. I take a roll call vote. Jordan?
Councilmember Ronayne.
Aye.
Fauberg.
Aye.
Liebelt.
Aye.
Ward.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Econger.
Aye.
Langer.
Aye.
Norvstrup.
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion carries. Thanks for joining us. Good to see you. Next, we've got a possible approval of a payment. Authorize the city manager to sign pay estimates for our airport improvement project, GA apron reconstruction, Phase 2, first to Helms, $42,997.63. Second to Reedy for $598,304.40. Here to speak to us is Rich Krokel. Rich, how is the apron project coming along?
Fantastic. It's coming along great. Even given with all the rain we've had lately, they're still ahead of schedule. So it's nice to have a hometown contractor. So this one is engineering and resident administration and resident engineering services for $42,997.63, and then Reedy is for materials and work completed through May 17th, and that's for $598,304.40. And the funding allocation is 90% federal, 5% state, and 5% local.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion Johnson, second Ronayne. So, Rich, we've got a new council member here. He's not terribly familiar with projects, or I'm assuming he's probably not. Would you kind of just walk us through what a general aviation apron consists of and why it's being replaced?
Yep. So the general aviation, we've got two areas of what we call the aprons or the ramps. General aviation is Aberdeen Flying Service, Quest Aviation, and Hangar 9. Those are three private businesses at the airport. And then our commercial apron is the one that accommodates the Delta connections.
It just lived its life. The concrete in front of the general aviation.
Oh, yeah.
is-
Yeah,
and
there's areas where that concrete, literally it's 4 inches thick because it's degrading from underneath. So we've done, for the last, 10, 11 years, we've been doing concrete repairs of the 4 joints. They'll spall and blow out. So we've been doing a lot of repairs, usually about, it doesn't sound like much, but it's a lot of work. We've been doing about 7 yards each summer of concrete repairs.
Thank you. Any other questions for Rich before we take our vote on these two payments? Jordan?
Councilmember Norvstrup,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Econger,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Ward,
Aye.
Liebelt,
Aye.
Fauberg,
Aye.
Ronayne,
Aye.
Mayor Shonneman.
Aye, motion carries. Next, the approval of payment authorized city manager to sign pay estimates for the airport improvement project runway rehab lighting improvements. Invoice number 26 is for $1,245.74 to Helms and Associates. Rich?
Yes, and for the new counselor, runway 1331 rehabilitation and lighting improvements project. This is becoming an old, stale project that we've had numerous problems with lighting that was supplied by the manufacturer. So we're still trying to get through those problems. The current invoice number 26, I don't know if I've ever seen Helms have an invoice number that high, but this is for $1,245.74, and that's for construction administration and reporting. Then the funding allocation for that is 90% federal, 5% city, 5% state.
You alluded to the fact that that's been kind of lingering around on us here. Any end in sight?
I have no update. I talked with the engineer and Ephraimson Electric on it, and they're still trying to get resolution with the manufacturer.
All right, thank you for that clarification, Rich. Appreciate that. I take a motion to approve that payment.
Move to approve.
Motion Ward, second Knobstrup. Any questions? Jordan?
Councilmember Ronayne,
Aye.
Fauberg,
Aye.
Liebelt,
Aye.
Ward,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Econger,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Norvstrup,
Aye.
Mayor Shonneman.
Aye, motion carries. Next, we've got a possible approval for the following pay requests: terminal remodel and expansion for accommodating TSA machines. Possible approval to tentatively award the AIP project bid schedule A, B, alternate B1 to Quest Construction of Aberdeen for $1.37 million, as well as possible approval to approve the city manager to sign the paperwork for the FAA, state DOT, and other contractual documents after their review by our city, I imagine that meant to be attorney. Rich, would you walk us through this project then, please?
Yep, this one we had 3 bid alternates on it. We opened bids last month, and Quest construction was the low bidder. They met all the requirements. The bids came in, both bids came in at under the engineer's estimates. So what the gist of this project is when you walk into the terminal, there's a bag screening machine setting out in the Grand Hall. What we want to do is move that into a secure room where it really should be. Our terminal was built in 2003 and really did not have any of the TSA elements designed into it when it was designed in 2000. So again, this is for $1,370,000. Let me start over. $1,370,410.04. And as Mayor stated, it's contingent upon our FAA grant offer, which we're going to get that. We got a list of grants that are coming out pretty soon. So,
Thank you, Rich. Would someone from the council care to make a motion on this action?
I move to approve both requests.
I would second both requests.
Motion Johnson, second Liebelt. Any questions from the council on the project or the money? Jordan?
Councilmember Norvstrup.
Aye.
Langer.
Aye.
Econger.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Ward.
Aye.
Liebelt.
Aye.
Fauberg.
Aye.
Ronayne.
Aye.
Mayor Shonneman.
Aye, motion carries. Next, possible approval to authorize city manager to sign a letter of agreement for the airport project on procurement and on a preconditioned air unit after review of that agreement by the city attorney. Rich, a lot going on here today.
there's a lot going on at the airport, yep. So, thank you, Mayor. When we designed the Jet Bridge project in 2018, one of the two bid alternates was for the preconditioned air unit. But at that time, we had exhausted all of the grant money. So within that construction project, we laid infrastructure for the preconditioned air unit, knowing that at some point in time in the future, we're gonna go after that. Ironically, I had received a notice of funding opportunity for a program called VALE, Voluntary Airport Low Emissions Project. And I talked with Helms, and we decided it was worth going after. Our local FAA up in Bismarck said, you guys don't have a chance, because at that point, most of the big airports were getting it. But it was about a month ago, I received notice that we had been awarded this grant. So the preconditioned air unit, what that'll do is in the wintertime, it'll keep the plane warm inside overnight. Summertime, it'll keep the plane cool.
Nice. We might get coffee again.
That's right.
I don't have anything to do with coffee.
Good for you.
Well, thanks for
Move to
pursuing it,
approve.
Rich.
I'll second.
Motion Ronayne, second Johnson. Any questions? All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Yet another one from the airport. Glad you made it in tonight, Rich.
I'll
We
be
had a
here for a
possible approval of a payment and authorization for the city manager to sign the estimates for the airport improvement project. This one is for our airport terminal access road and terminal parking lot. It's an invoice title number 2. It's for $4,500.86 to our engineer on staff, Helms and Associates. Rich, how is that project coming along? Maybe give us the basics of it for Talmadge's sake.
Yep, this project is actually going to kick off July 7th. We're going to completely reconstruct the terminal access road and the parking lot. I don't know if most of you probably have driven that road and survived to tell the story, but it's in pretty bad condition. It's 25 years old and 24 years old. So getting FAA funding on this was a little more difficult because terminal roads and terminal parking lots are usually placed at the very bottom of the list. And we just kept it on our capital improvement plan and discussed it on and off with the FAA for the last 10 years. And funding came available. And so I'm gonna get with Amber and we're gonna create a public, notice because there's gonna be a lot of detours. One thing that will not happen is it will not impact the flight schedule. So we're gonna figure out a way to keep progress going on this and keeping all of our flights in place.
Thanks for keeping that in mind, Rich. That is always important for the people around here. Take a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion Liebelt, second Ward. Did a pretty good job of explaining how their roadway is going to be rebuilt. Nothing from the council. Jordan, would you give us a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Ronayne.
Aye.
Fauberg.
Aye.
Liebelt.
Aye.
Ward.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Econger.
Aye.
Langer.
Aye.
Norvstrup.
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion carries. Next, we've got a possible approval of a payment and authorize the city manager for our airport improvement project, terminal expansion, reconstruction, terminal components to accommodate TSA machines. Invoice 19,447 for the design services, which are 100% complete. $3,794.50 for the terminal bidding service, which is 35% complete. Are these payments set to go to Helms?
Yes,
Okay.
it doesn't say that in there.
All right.
Oh,
So
yeah, so these go to Helms, 19,447.83 is design services. And the invoice number 4 for $3,794.57 is for bidding services, and that is about 1/3 complete. They still got some paperwork to finish up on that. And the funding source for this was through Senate Bill 144, where we were awarded $1.2 million from the Aeronautics Commission, South Dakota Aeronautics Commission. And then we got some AIP money at $800,000. And then our local share on this one's gonna be $60,000. So, I know we're kind of spoiled about getting the 95-5 share, but this one's just a little bit different.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion Ronayne, second Johnson. Any questions? Jordan?
Councilmember Norvstrup.
Aye.
Langer.
Aye.
Econger.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Ward.
Aye.
Liebelt.
Aye.
Fauberg.
Aye.
Ronayne.
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion carries. Thanks
you,
for joining us, Rich. I expect one of these years, we're gonna have no more concrete to replace out there.
Don't hold your breath.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. Next is our review and approval of claims and payroll. This week's bills, of course, the payroll period is for June 1st through June 14th. I'd take a motion to pay the bills.
Move to pay the bills.
Motion Liebelt, second, Councilman Novstrup. Anybody have any final words on the bills before we take a vote? Jordan?
Councilmember Ronayne.
Abstain.
Councilmember Fauberg.
Abstain from the payment to Dakota Bank.
Councilmember Liebelt.
Aye.
Ward.
Abstain.
Councilmember Johnson.
Aye.
Econger.
Aye.
Langer.
Aye.
Norvstrup.
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
I also will abstain, but we have plenty enough yes votes to make this thing work. Motion does carry. Next, we've got a city manager's report. Robin, what have you got for us this evening?
Few items here. I believe tomorrow, Homes Are Possible is doing their 25th celebration. I think the program starts at noon, and it sounds like it's out of North Harrison Street. We also have had a number of groups asking for meetings to start asking about potential requests for funding for the upcoming budget. We did meet with Councilman Econger last week to just kind of walk through the basics with him and get to know him a little bit, and we'll be doing the same thing with Mr. Nelson here within the next couple weeks. We had a lot of board meetings the last couple weeks since we last met, and Let's see, what else? We're meeting with all the departments on their budget requests this week, Jordan and Kathy and I. And in addition to that, we had a 10-year certificate of appreciation to Chris Scott. He's one of our lieutenants, right? And then we had a swearing-in ceremony today that I attended for Mr. Luke Nelson, who got promoted to lieutenant. So congratulations to those folks, and been spending a lot of time with the fire department the last few weeks. So it's I don't know if our time is pretty much over for that part of it, but we've had a lot of them in the last month and a half or so. So congratulations. That's all I've got.
Thank you, Robin. Welcome, Talmadge. It's good to have you here. And congratulations to Chris and Luke for those the promotion and the milestone. Next, we've got an executive session. So why don't we take a little bit of time to clear out the room of folks that don't need to be there. This is an executive session to consult with legal counsel about litigation and contractual matters.